Alright, I've decided to do my Judas Priest album ranking video. And so apparently I think they got 18 albums. So this will be kind of fun. This one will be pretty easy to rank because I've got pretty decently strong feelings about every album, one way or the other. So here we go. We'll start off with Rock-a-Rolla. So this is Judas Priest starting out, and I feel like they really didn't know exactly what they wanted to do yet. This is hardly a Judas Priest album in a way and sound, so I don't know. I've barely listened to this one too. This is probably the only Judas Priest album I've barely listened to, and every time I've heard it, I thought it was okay, but nothing that I was gonna like, not something I want to listen to a whole lot. So I'll put this one, as you see my rankings here, I kind of got them sort of from Judas Priest titles. But I'll put this somewhere in between. Next, Sad Wings of Destiny. Now, this is where Judas Priest became Judas Priest, okay? This is the album that really, one of the defining albums for the metal genre in general. This album has it all, man. I mean, it's got the Ripper, it's got Tyrant, Victim of Changes. I mean, the whole album is absolutely killer and even epic. While Black Sabbath was dark and kind of evil and sludgy, Judas Priest was kind of more faster and epic to me. So this one has to be metal god tier, no doubt about it. Next, Sin After Sin. This one practically picks up where Sad Wings of Destiny left off. This one is a small step down as far as consistency, but I still think the album is great. It's great enough that the good on this album is good enough to keep it up there. I think this one has a little more ballady stuff on it, but some of these songs are absolute bangers for their time. I mean, come on, you've got the song Sinner, you've got Dissident Aggressor, you got I don't know, the whole thing's good for the most part. I still give this a metal god tier. Next, Stained Class. Ooh, this one's one of my top favorite albums in the whole catalog. This one literally is perfect. Even though there is a cover on this album that's in the third track, I think it's good. I kind of wish it wasn't there and maybe put off to the end, but it's still not bad. But all the original songs are among some of the best and most classic sounding, in my opinion. Definite metal gods. Such a perfect album. Hellbent for Leather. This one, okay, the cool thing about this album is this is kind of where they got their image, you know, with all the leather and the studs and everything. So this kind of gave them their image, but unfortunately I think this album is a small step down from the previous albums, although there are some great tracks on here. I mean, the song Hellbent for Leather is a classic. Delivering the Goods, Running Wild. I mean, this album's still great. But I'm going to have to put this one as Hellbent for Greatness. British Steel. One of the most popular Judas Priest albums in the catalog. And to be honest, I don't agree with a lot of people saying this is the best Judas Priest album. I think it's good. I think it's where Judas Priest was trying to grow a bigger audience. Trying to get on the radio. You know, got some shorter songs, less complex songs. I just feel like this album is kind of bare bones for Judas Priest at this point. A lot of the epicness is kind of not there. It's still good, though. I mean, that's what I can say about the whole thing. It's good. I just don't call it amazing. But I'll put it as a Hellbent for Greatness. Point of Entry. Oh boy, have the mighties have fallen. But fortunately, this is Judas Priest we're talking about, so they always pick themselves back up. This one is almost like it wants to be British Steel Part 2 in a way, but just not nearly as good. Some of the worst Judas Priest songs are on this album, in my opinion. I even named one of the tier ranking, the last tier ranking, as I Say No. I don't know. Like, I still like Heading Out to the Highway. Hot Rockin's okay. Desert Plains is really cool, but to be honest, this album's kind of it's kind of a huge letdown. So I'm gonna have to put this one as These Wings Are Sad. Let's see here. Oh, Screaming for Vengeance. Okay, now this is where Judas Priest picks themselves back up. They get up and they're ready to fight again, and they do come back with a little bit of a vengeance. Now, I think this album's really good. This is one of the best albums that, Judas Priest would come out with in the 80s, in my opinion. I still don't think they're as good as, like, Stay in Class or Sad Wings of Destiny, but this is really good. This album kind of defines what 80s metal kind of is to a degree. And of course, it's got a lot of good stuff on it. Electric Eye, Riding on the Wind. You Got Another Thing Coming. I mean, it's good. And the song Bloodstone I've always really liked. So Metal God tier for sure. The next one, Defenders of the Faith. This is one that I feel like doesn't get talked about nearly enough. Everybody flocks to Screaming for Vengeance, and I'm like, dude, I actually kind of like Defenders of the Faith maybe a hair better. I mean, Free Will Burning. I mean, dude, that song is so fun and epic. Jawbreaker. It's even got The Sentinel. And there is one song, if you get past the disgusting lyrics, Eat Me Alive is kind of a banger. I mean, I can't help it. It just is. And you got songs like Love Bites, which, not great, but not terrible, I guess. I don't know. Depends on how you look at it. I would definitely still put this on Metal God tier. And here we go. We take another tumble, and we do Turbo. Now, I haven't listened to this album in its entirety for a very, very long time. I will say this, even though it's not really the style we all want for Judas Priest, it's not quite my style. I'll have to be honest, if you're open-minded enough for something really cheesy in an 80s way, it's not that bad. There is one song I legitimately like, and I think it's called Reckless. It's the final track, I think. That song I actually like. And the song Turbo Lover, it's okay. It's just okay. It's very poppy, just for the sheer fact that the songs are well done enough, I'll put this as somewhere in between. It's definitely, to me, not as terrible as Point of Entry. Not as bland, anyway. Ram It Down. This one's kind of odd. I always thought this was a real oddity in the Judas Priest catalog. While there's some tracks on there that foreshadow the next album, which I'm going to be talking about, obviously, the song Ram It Down is amazing speed metal. Amazing. It's fast. It just rips. It's also got what's that one song? There's another song on there. I can't think of the title right now, but it's got kind of a speed metal vibe. But there's some songs like heavy metal. Like, I like the chorus a lot, but the rest of it's kind of weird. I don't know. It's a Ram It Down's good. It's just real spotty and just kind of odd, but I'll still put it Hellbent for Greatness just because there's some tracks on there that are just downright cool. Painkiller. Okay, this is the album I'm talking about. Ram It Down kind of foreshadowed this album, and it kind of took the best ideas from Ram It Down and kind of built on that and made a whole album of that. but on steroids on top of that. Painkiller is one of the most perfect Judas Priest albums, I ain't gonna lie. Every track on it's killer. It's about as perfect as like Stay in Class, only instead of 78, this is 1990. I mean, this is just fun. I mean, the band is just out of control. Halford's voice is just absolutely crazy. Just so much. He's just screeching up there, like the high-pitched voice the whole time. Like the whole song of Painkiller, it's just like, oh my gosh, dude. Oh my gosh. I don't know. The guitar work is amazing. The guitar tones are amazing. The solos are amazing. I mean, Glenn Tipton and KK Downing were amazing guitar players. But it really becomes apparent how good these guys really are on this album. So, Painkiller, without a doubt, gets a Metal God tier. Jugulator. Alright, sadly, Halford left Judas Priest to pursue some other things. He did a solo project, he did Fight, but Judas Priest kept on going. They got another singer by the name of Ripper Owens, which I am a fan of, and I think he worked pretty good for Priest, but the direction of the albums that he was on were kind of questionable for me. Like, they're good, but not great. Jugulator. So, I think the song Jugulator's cool. I think the first half of this album's pretty great. The second half has a couple great songs, but there's a lot of like just boring sludginess that I just kind of doesn't do much for me in the middle of this album. But I gotta say, up to this point, as far as just heaviness, I mean, this is kind of like that. You know, you can tell they were probably influenced by bands like Pantera and kind of built up a 90s type of metal sound, you know, based on just what the decade offered. And but they kind of did it their own Judas Priest way. And the thing about these two albums that Ripper sang on, I think they're really corny lyrically. Some of the lyrics are so bad. I can't help it, but I still will put this Hellbent for Greatness. Demolition. All right, personally, and this is my opinion, I know a lot of people don't seem to agree, but I think Demolition is a small step up from Jugulator. The reason why I say that, I think this sounds more like a Judas Priest album than Jugulator did. Now, this album's still not perfect, far from perfect. I mean, we got a track called Metal Messiah at the end of the album that actually has rap. Yeah, it raps. So, yeah, too bad, because that song actually had a great chorus. But, you know, Hell is Home is another one. It's like, the music's okay, but the lyrics are so cheesy. I don't know. Machine Man, the album starts off, I mean, again, the song's killer. The lyrics are really, really cheesy. The needless cursing, and you got loser tattooed on your face, you know, like, this is really stupid to me. But other than that, I mean, a lot of the music on here actually is pretty good. And some songs I actually really like. Let's see, what was that one? Bloodsucker sounds like it could have came right off of Painkiller. What's some other song on there that I like? I can't think of the title off the top of my head right now, but I'll give this a Hellbent for Greatness. Angel of Retribution. So, Halford comes back. Nothing wrong with Ripper, but I'm really glad to hear Halford back with Priest. He belongs with Priest. Angel of Retribution is a great comeback album. So this album basically embodies everything that Judas Priest has ever done into one album. Basically, you've got some 70s type stuff on here. You've got some Screaming for Vengeance type stuff on here. You got some Painkiller stuff on here. You even got some stuff that sounded like it could have came off Jugulator or Demolition. It's just pretty much embodies their whole catalog. It sounds great. I love this album. Metal God tier. Let's see here. So the next one is Nostradamus. Okay, this album is one of the few Judas Priest albums I, for some odd reason, have not listened to all the way in one sitting, and I somehow can't just build the interest to actually listen to this album. I don't know what it is. There just seems like there's a lot of just, I don't know, trying to be epic, but just kind of being long-winded, type of thing. Like a lot of just, I don't know. I don't have really much to say about the album. I just, for some reason, it never really interested me like a lot of the other ones. I'll put this somewhere in between because it's not bad. It's good stuff on it. I don't know. Redeemer of Souls. Yeah, this album's pretty good. I feel like this album has some really, really strong tracks on it, but then again, there's also a lot of tracks on it that kind of get lost in the mix. But this album is pretty good. I think the first batch of songs on the album, like first 4 or 5 tracks or so, I think are pretty killer. The production's kind of weird, though. I don't really like the production on this one that much. It sounds kind of weak for a band like Judas Priest. Like, it just sounds kind of muddy, and I don't know. But it's good. I'll put it hell-bent for greatness. Last and certainly not least, Firepower. This was a surprise. And I forgot to mention that KK Downing did not play on... he left the band before Redeemer, and he's also not on this album. So you're kind of missing a key component to Judas Priest, which really sucks. I really hope they patch up whatever problem they have with each other and get back together, but it might not ever happen. But Firepower, oh my gosh, did not see this coming. The production, perfect. Although it's modern, it does sound a little bit on the kind of stale, boring side, but at the same time, it's really good. It's so good that it's almost too good. I guess that's what I'm trying to say. But all the songs on here are so good. And again, this one kind of embodies a lot of... It never goes quite as full force, as fast as Painkiller, but it's got those Painkiller moments, but it kind of embodies a lot of 80s Judas Priest. I don't know. It's just really solid from beginning to end. Love this album. Definitely have to put this Metal Gods. So there we have it. Judas Priest, one of the most influential bands in the history of metal, one of the most important bands. Luckily, I never had to rank them any lower than what Point of Entry was on, so I didn't have to say no to any of these. So I'm glad. I'm really glad. But I hope they keep going strong. I hope they never stop. I mean, one day everything has to end, but I just love this band, so I just wish them the best. Anyway, thanks for watching.